How's it going, Ding Dongs? Happy New Year. Welcome back to Ding Dong Drift. It's a new year and I thought it'd be a great time to talk about what's gonna be coming in the future for this channel, for this car, and for me and all that stuff. So before we get to the future plans, I would like to get all the new subscribers, all the new Ding Dongs caught up to what has happened to this car so far. So if you're new here, welcome. You are now a Ding Dong of the channel. This is my 1992 SC400, Lexus SC400. If you're in Japan or Australia, you would call this a Toyota Soarer, but here they're Lexus SC400s. 5 years ago, my friend and I got this car for $550 in the hopes of simply drifting it straight into a wall and not caring about it because it was an absolute piece of garbage. It was terrible. It used to be black. As you can see, I've painted the whole thing. My friend Sully, who I started the channel with, he moved to Texas and sold me the car. And ever since then, I've just been building it. So let me walk through all the major modifications that have been done to this car, and then I'll go on to the future plans. So the engine is still a stock 1UZ. However, it is not the original engine that this car came with. The original engine that this car came with is right here because I spun a rod bearing drifting it in the snow and it had no oil in it because it used to leak a lot of oil. So this is Tyler's 1UZ out of his SC400, and he now has a 3UZ in his car that we're gonna get running this spring. That's besides the point. This is stock 1UZ. As you can see, it's very highly simplified. There's no stuff on it anymore. There's no idle air valve. There's no EGR. There's no coolant pipes running all over the intake. It is all completely simplified. Couple sensors, oil pressure and temperature, coolant temperature, intake air temperature, map sensor, and throttle body, and that's basically it. So the way I'm getting all these sensors, obviously, is a Link ECU. It is a Link Monsoon X. It is inside the car. It has been converted to coil-on plug with Audi R8 coils because these are the cheapest ones. Those are literally cheaper than Camry coils. I have also 3D printed all of these covers. That is an idle air delete valve cover, EGR cover, and cam timing covers. So these are all 3D printed. And as you can see, they hold up to the heat because I'm using a very special filament. Every single pulley has been converted to billet aluminum besides the crank, but that is coming as well. Oil filter relocation bracket that then goes to two -10s, which then goes to a Mishimoto oil relocation thingy, oil filter relocation, and then -10 lines to a Mishimoto oil thermostat, and then a Mishimoto oil cooler right there. That is a 12 row, I think. I'm not sure. It has also been converted to E-fans with a Supra aluminum radiator. This is just off of eBay. I got it like 4 years ago now, I think, before I even painted the car, and it's been holding up just fine. Car never overheats. Car never goes above like 205. Pontiac GTO fans, I think off of like an 05 or something, I don't remember. I got them on Marketplace for 40 bucks and they're a great deal. A Mishimoto oil catch can. I drilled and tapped the holes for the PCV and the little breather port there, converted those to -10. I think it's -10, maybe -8, I don't remember. And yeah, that's basically it for the engine. Everything else is stock alternator, stock power steering pump. Everything's been rebuilt. I have videos on how to rebuild all those things. The steering rack's been rebuilt. You can tell the entire car is gutted and painted with POR 15 top coat, so it's nice and durable, easy to clean. Custom Status Racing seats. It's got my logo on them. I'm gonna get new cushions for them because I want to get the diamond stitch. I have 3D printed false floors that, as you can see, light up from the bottom, so there's no lights coming down from the top. This is all backlit, so this is translucent plastic that I designed to have this picture on it. There's GoCo on that side, the Jeet on this side, and then here is the Link ECU that I was talking about. This is a 3D printed battery box for a anti-gravity battery. So I have a lithium battery that only weighs 4 pounds in here. So as you can see, this car has no wiring harness, no original wiring, nothing. I completely rewired the entire car because it has a ECU Master PDM. All the wires, there's the PDM, and you can see all the wires coming out of it. So that one PDM powers the entire car, and I can control everything digitally. I can connect it to a laptop, I can change the inputs and outputs, and everything is controlled right here. You see the fuel pump, there's the fan, there's the wipers, hazards. So obviously I have a lot more inputs that I can use. Those will have a use later on this year specifically. Moving on, while we're here, I have this crazy shifter. It is pretty simple if you actually just look at it. So this is the original shifter, and as you can see, it's pretty far back. If I'm shifting backwards, my arm would hit the seat, so I made this little bracket. It's just 2 pivots. There's a, pivot here, and since they're constrained in all directions, they're not able to, to twist. It's just a pretty simple little thing. And I made this entirely out of forged carbon fiber. So I 3D printed molds, and you can see that is all forged carbon, if it would focus. Whole entire thing is forged carbon fiber. Probably thinking what shifter this is. SC400s never came manual. A CD09 transmission from a G35. I think it's a 2006 G35 that I got it from. With a Collins adapter that I will be changing to a Fish Racing adapter because it is way better. And the Collins adapter kind of sucks, honestly. So while we're inside, let's talk about this crazy thing. These are my digital mirrors. See, I have little cameras there instead of mirrors. Yeah, I just put screens and cameras inside the car. I will be redoing this with better cameras and better screens, but for now it works kind of. Then we have my digital dash. So this is a Android tablet. You can see, just regular old Android tablet. It's some Samsung 10-inch tablet. It was like 150 bucks or something. And it is running an app called Real Dash, which is connected to my ECU and PDM and everything through CAN bus. So it is instant data transmission, super reliable, it's super fast, and I have all my data on the screen and I can customize it however I want, and I have literally 0 limitations. This program is completely customizable in every way. So I have my oil temperature and coolant temperature, oil pressure and wideband, intake air temperature, when the ignition is on, when the fuel is on, and when the fan is on. So everything is on the screen, super easy to read, super bright. And then we have my Fish Racing Hydro handbrake. It's a nice piece with a carbon fiber handle, if it would focus. Super awesome, because this thing can be mounted in any direction you want. So you can mount it with the reservoir in the forward position, with the handle up, with the handle sideways, and then you can flip it around so that the reservoir is in the back. So literally, however you want to mount it in your car, you can flip it around, change it however you want. It is the best hydro handbrake. So now that we talked about all the Ricer stuff, let's talk about some of the more performance stuff. Starting off in the front, we have a FDF Race Shop Mantis kit. So this is what gives me all the angle that I could ever need. It's an insane amount of angle. I think it's like 65 or 70 degrees. The car is literally a dream to drive with this. And to help with the grip, we have Sika 1M coilovers, 14K in the front and 8K in the rear. Super soft, because for drifting, you need soft suspension. So the angle kit is the reason that the car is the width that it is. If you're new here, this is a 3D printed wide body that I designed and made myself completely by hand. 3D printed all the pieces, because it is printed in pieces. I don't have a giant printer. And then fiberglass laid over it, Bondo painted, and here we are. The front, there's no way around it. Angle kit always pushes the front out. So I didn't want the whole bulldog look where the front is wider than the rear, so I matched the rear. Speaking of the rear of the car, we have a cheap aluminum fuel cell with a Deechworks fuel pump and a Deechworks spin-on fuel filter, and the entire system is PTFE -8 feed and -6 return, so it is ready for E85. And now we can see the pieces of the rear wide body, and it is mounted here in the back with a welded frame so that the bottom of the wide body doesn't flail around. But you can see I've been driving the car around and it's gotten a little dirty. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this, but in the rear of the car we have the FDF Race Shop grip kit. So it is a fully adjustable suspension setup, and then we have solid mounts for the subframe, solid aluminum mounts for the differential. Can't see it, but speaking of the differential, it is a 3.2 Dynamics lights and stuff that I'm probably forgetting. So the biggest thing for this car this year is, as you can tell from the engine mods, it's gonna get a turbo. That is the biggest thing. And I'm working with Hellsteel. You guys might know him from Jim McLaughlin's car. He has their street kit. I will be getting their race kit. I am very excited about that. I will be running a PSR 6262G turbo, which I think will be plenty because the goal is about 600-700 horsepower, and hopefully this 300,000 mile engine will be able to handle that. If not, I have a spare engine that just needs new bearings, but if I'm gonna do bearings, I'll probably do forged rods and all that stuff. That is the biggest thing coming for the car. Another kind of really big thing is also a Cage Kits roll cage. So during Black Friday, I ordered the cage. It should be arriving shortly. That is another massive thing coming for this car. Question I get asked a bunch is, why is there such a big gap in the front? Well, that is the next thing coming as well. I will be doing a completely new front end for the car. It will still look kind of like an SC, but I am going for a 2025 SCF vibes, if you know what I mean. LC500, the newest Lexuses like the RX and NX and how they look, and imagine that getting made onto this. Same thing with the rear. Big old light bar. This whole entire front end is getting completely redesigned, and I think it's gonna look incredible. Along with the bumper, I'm gonna design completely new headlights. No, you can't buy these. They are already spoken for. Same thing with the taillights, and like I mentioned before, new camera mirrors and new sunroof delete, because this is a 3D printed one, and you can see it's kind of fallen out because I put some heavy stuff on it. But I will be making a carbon fiber one that anyone will be able to purchase and glue in just like this. Speaking of carbon fiber, I hope maybe this year, maybe next year, to make this entire car carbon fiber and carbon Kevlar, which means carbon fiber hood, carbon Kevlar, carbon fiber doors, carbon Kevlar entire wide body and bumpers, or carbon fiber roof skin, as well as the trunk. If you have been watching, you'll remember my attempt at making a mold of the hood. So I have the original hood back there, and this is a mold that I made of it. This is only half the mold, but it didn't go so well. I will be attempting it again, so don't worry. For those of you that have been waiting and commenting on that video where the second part is or whatever, it is coming. I'll get to it. This is just very expensive. This cost like nearly $1,000 and it was a failure, so big waste of money. But that is basically gonna be it for the future plans of this car. I hope you guys enjoyed this very talkative video, and I hope you subscribe if you're new here so that you don't miss this progress. There's also gonna be other cars. I am working on getting another car right now, and it is gonna be completely different from this, and I'm also hoping to get a truck. That is going to be it though. Check out the merch. Got Ding Dong Drift beanies, hoodies, everything, stickers, 3D printed products, and I also have new products coming for other cars as well, specifically Miatas and stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Peace out, Ding Dongs. Stay sweet.
America, America. Do you have your passport? Did you get your job?